And Microslop is falling down.
Oh, Microsoft, how the mighty have fallen.
Microsoft products are being phased out by individual municipalities or federal states or organizations.
Asus just shook the entire PC world, and Bill Gates is reportedly seeing red. For the first time in 3 decades, a major OEM is openly dumping Windows, slamming the old monopoly and rewriting the industry's rules. Shockwaves are hitting Microsoft, retailers, and consumers alike. Nothing will ever be the same.
We're starting to see some very just damaging things happening to Windows, especially on the back end.
Windows used to mean freedom. It was the center of personal computing, the startup sound, the blue wallpaper, the endless possibilities. That Windows was more than an operating system. It was the platform that brought technology to the world.
Quietly, almost under the radar, Asus announced that Windows will no longer come pre-installed on their premium consumer and workstation laptops. For decades, Windows was the automatic choice on nearly every PC outside Apple.
Now, what's left feels less like a tool for creativity and more like an ad platform wrapped in AI features that no one asked for.
Thanks!
Instead of improving what worked, Microsoft tried to reinvent the wheel and made a square one instead. They threw out the start menu, plastered the screen with tiles, and built an interface that made no sense on a desktop. It wasn't built for users, it was built for metrics.
But now, if you want Windows on an Asus machine, you have to ask for it and pay extra. That seemingly simple policy shift has sent shockwaves through retailers, suppliers, and, most importantly, Microsoft. This isn't just a software story. It's a confrontation over control, profit, and decades of industry norms.
There was a time when Windows was untouchable. Windows 95 changed the world. It gave everyone a digital front door, the start menu, the taskbar, the simple joy of clicking something and watching it work. Then came Windows XP.
For 30 years, consumers had no real choice. Every non-Apple PC shipped with Windows. It was invisible, automatic, unquestioned. Asus. Flipping that default is more than a policy change. It's a seismic shift. One decision exposed the hidden power Microsoft held over the PC industry for decades, and that power suddenly looks fragile. The system everyone assumed was permanent is being questioned, and the ripple effects are enormous.
I'm done with you, Microsoft. It's finally time for me to say goodbye to Windows.
With all AI things going up, they must go down. And ladies and gentlemen, still to this day, Microslop won't learn.
But now, the cost of shipping Windows has quietly crushed OEMs for years. On an average Asus laptop, the Windows license alone costs $50 to $80. That's before the hidden expenses. Windows 11 introduced hardware mandates that forced OEMs to add extra components and specifications just to comply. TPM 2.0, security chips, blacklisted CPUs, higher RAM minimums, all add $18 to $20 per machine. Then there's $12 in support for frustrated customers and $8 to $10 per returned unit. Suddenly, a $400 laptop carries a hidden Windows tax of over $130 before Asus even sees profit. A discounted license doesn't fix the problem. The chain of costs and headaches is baked in.
But eventually, I think Microsoft will incur so much tech debt that Windows just gets worse and worse, and it's going to just be like an exponential graph. As it grows, you're going to have to find other solutions.
And the financial damage doesn't stop there. Between 2021 and 2024, 11.4% of Windows laptops were returned. That's nearly 1 in 8 units. Most returns weren't because the laptops were broken. The hardware worked fine. Windows itself was the culprit. Slow performance, forced updates that broke functionality, and features customers didn't want but couldn't disable. Each returned unit cost Asus roughly $75 for restocking and reselling at a discount. Multiply that across hundreds of thousands of units, and the losses are staggering. Microsoft never has to account for this. Asus eats it all.
That sounds crazy, but what I found instead was perhaps even worse and even more confusing.
See, Microsoft 365 Copilot is just a new name that Microsoft gave to an old app that used to be called
Customer support tells the same story. Every call about Windows hits Asus first. Why won't my printer work after the update? How do I remove Edge as my default browser? Why is OneDrive uploading files without permission? Each question costs real money, agents, infrastructure, and time. Microsoft profits quietly from the ecosystem creating these problems, while Asus absorbs the brunt. For years, manufacturers pretended that default Windows made sense. Now, Asus has the data to prove it doesn't.
Some really troubling things happening to the code base, and a lot of the tech debt from using AI really slip in. Like here you see duplication. Now this is just a GPO ADML template.
The scale of this is staggering. Asus isn't just saving a few dollars. They're rewriting the economics of the PC business. By removing the automatic Windows default, they cut returns, reduce support calls, and regain control over manufacturing and pricing. They're exposing what consumers have always suspected but never saw. Windows isn't free for manufacturers. It's expensive, unpredictable, and profit-draining. The timing couldn't be worse for Microsoft. They built their dominance on default installations, ship a PC with Windows, lock in the user, standardize enterprise IT, collect fees. Now, Asus shows that default isn't guaranteed. It's optional, and it comes with consequences that Microsoft spent decades hiding.
Windows, the operating system, is in such a bad state. I think it has an impact on how we should view all of this hardware to begin with.
This isn't just about cost, it's about power. Asus is saying, we won't silently accept a system that bleeds us financially and operationally for someone else's benefit. Retailers notice, suppliers recalculate, other OEMs watch. One bold move could trigger a domino effect reshaping the PC industry.
Okay, hot take, Windows 11 is just ruining laptops. Now, after the recent Windows update, people experienced black screen of death. Like there was blue, but now there's black screen of death. The update is corrupting file, laptops are crashing.
Windows 11's hardware rules make the stakes even higher. TPM 2.0 turned perfectly functional PCs into unsupported machines overnight. Good CPUs that worked for everyday tasks blacklisted. RAM minimums hiked for no practical reason. Customers face hardware they don't need, but are forced to upgrade if they want Windows. It's a cage, and Asus decided not to step inside.
The situation is so bad that Microsoft had to admit Windows 11 is broken.
Then there's the bloatware nightmare. Every Windows laptop shipped with trial software nobody wants. Antivirus trials, Microsoft 365 prompts, random apps cluttering desktops. Microsoft collects revenue for these trials. Asus gets nothing. Yet every frustrated customer call lands in Asus support queues, costing real money. It's like Microsoft set a trap, and Asus got stung every time.
Windows actually just publicly states that it believes its users are too stupid to be able to use their product, and that they have to make it even more enclosed and even more restricted. But the thing that makes me just love Valve more and more is the fact that they don't think that about you.
Asus didn't just react. They tested. Internal. Pilot programs with default Windows machines revealed shocking numbers. Returns and support calls were off the charts. Executives were stunned. The math had been whispering the truth. Sticking with Windows as default was a losing game. The cost of doing nothing exceeded revenue from licensing. Once Asus ran the numbers, the decision was obvious. Bold, controversial, financially necessary, they were free to break the rules. Microsoft tried to fight back. First, a 40% discount on Windows licenses. Then, a threat to cut $180 million in co-op marketing funds. Basically, pay up or we'll make life hard. Asus didn't flinch. This was business, not intimidation. Microsoft's leverage? Gone. If other OEMs follow Asus's lead, the monopoly crumbles. Asus became the spark.
No, apparently Microsoft is still so far in the AI swap game that they're actually cutting ties with their friends at OpenAI.
Retailers and consumers felt it next. Windows-less Asus laptops appeared at lower prices than their Windows counterparts. People noticed. Reviews for traditional Windows laptops started piling up negative marks: slow, updates, bloatware complaints, frustrated users. Asus began shaping the narrative: choice, transparency, and letting customers see the hidden costs. Momentum built quickly. Negative reviews stacked like dominoes, reinforcing the shift. Enterprise customers weren't happy either. Forced hardware upgrades, intrusive updates, AI features nobody asked for. Windows was grinding IT departments down. License fees and hidden support overhead became painfully clear. CIOs demanded flexibility and lower costs. Asus offered a glimpse of relief. The rules of the game were quietly changing. Windows' corporate dominance, long thought untouchable, was under pressure.
When you think about it, Windows Explorer is just a GUI wrapper over LS. Like, that's what else are you doing in this? Okay, yeah, there's a few other features, I get it, but there's a lot of complicated apps. Showing a file in a directory I refuse to accept it.
The dominoes start to fall. Asus' move puts pressure on Dell, HP, Lenovo, and other major OEMs. If Asus succeeds, Microsoft risks losing control of its largest distribution channel. Staggered moves from other OEMs could appear independent, but collectively erode Microsoft's leverage. Every shipment, pricing move, and review is now watched carefully. Asus positioned itself as the first domino. One bold move, and the house of default Windows could wobble dangerously. Bill Gates is reportedly furious. Behind closed doors, the fury is real. Seeing Asus openly defy Windows, exposing hidden costs, and refusing to be bullied. This is a wake-up call. OEMs are no longer silently absorbing losses and headaches while Microsoft collects revenue. Gates' empire of default control is suddenly visible, vulnerable, and Asus just held up a mirror.
So instead of having these one-time year charges, these subscription charges, you're going to have usage charge. Everything you do in Microsoft will be the continuous slow increase of a bill. Because at the end of the day, that's how you make stocks go up.
Why does this matter? Asus is the first major OEM to openly challenge a 30-year industry norm. They've exposed decades of hidden operational costs. Windows is no longer automatic. Now it's optional and expensive. Other OEMs can follow. The stage is set for a massive industry reset, a shift that only happens once every few decades. Asus didn't just make a laptop decision. They ignited a potential 30-year upheaval in the PC market. This isn't just business, it's strategy, audacity, and calculated risk. Asus threw the gauntlet, revealed the hidden math, and the industry is watching. Every frustrated call, forced upgrade, and overpriced Windows laptop tells a story, and Asus is rewriting it. The era of unquestioned defaults might just